All right, for this first demonstration, we're just going to be learning how to do the basic stitch. I'm just using one little piece of paper, one piece of fabric. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to sew up the edge. This is actually a really nice little technique because if you need a seam over on one side of it and you have a piece of fabric that's big enough, well, by just folding it over, you've already created one side, so you don't have to stitch this side. It's already done. You might say like, oh gosh, these edges aren't lined up and they're kind of messy. That's totally fine because when you stitch, you're going to stitch inside of all these cut pieces in here, right? Basically along like this, and then you're not going to see it once we fold it inside out. It'll just disappear. Okay, so we've got our needle, we've got our thread, we're all threaded up. We have a knot in the end of the thread. I'm going to go ahead and start at the end where it was folded. It doesn't really matter, but that's just where I'm going to start. And you simply start by going through the fabric, picking one side like this, pulling it most of the way through, but not all the way through. Close to the other, where that string came out, you're going to go through that again, going through both pieces and push it back through like this. And this one you can go ahead and pull through a little bit, but ideally you have a little bit of a tail. And remember, we tied that knot up here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a knot right there. And there's two separate strings on this side. And we want to go between those with our needle, pull it through, and now you're going to pull it tight. And what that does is it creates a lock stitch. And so now this can't pull out because we went through where the knot is, and so it's not gonna tear through. I really like this a lot. Now these ends of my string, this is the part before the knot, right? So the knot's down here. I just cut that down, leave a little bit left on there, a few millimeters, maybe as much as a 1/4 of an inch. So that's our first stitch, and that's really the hardest part about it. The next part is it starts to go pretty fast. Now you get to decide how many stitches, how frequent you're going to have your stitches. When you first learn to stitch, it's going to be a little bit zigzaggy. Again, don't worry about it, no big deal. It's also going to be inconsistent on your length. Again, no big deal. I've been doing this for years and I never have a consistent length on my stitches. So you're going to poke it through, and what I like to do is you poke through on the fabric, and then before going all the way through, I just go through again like this. I'm not sure this is making sense, but again, I have just a little bit of fabric there, a little bit of my stitch length, and I go through the other side. Same thing on this side. And you can kind of see where it's gonna come through there. And this allows you to stitch multiple stitches at one time. I wouldn't do more than 2 probably, because then it's just gonna be really hard to get your needle through. As it is, I may have already made it a little hard to get my needle through, we'll see. But you can then pull it through, and sometimes you get a little bunch like this. So you see how it kind of bunched up there. So then I just grab it, try to straighten it out a little bit, try it again, pull, there we go. If it doesn't come back neat, sometimes you can pull one. There's 2 separate pieces of thread here. You can try pulling on one, then try pulling on the other, and see if that helps to pull it through. Okay, and now I'm just gonna start stitching the other direction. If you pull too hard, you're gonna bunch up the fabric like this, and you don't want that. You want it to stay straight. And now that we are getting close to the end, as soon as you get to the end of the row and you want to tie off, then there's another video for you called Finishing Your Stitch. And so we'll see you in that next video. All right, good luck.